We are Crafo Systems, a cybersecurity service provider that bridges the gap between organizations and cybersecurity awareness by providing ICT consulting, training, risk and vulnerability assessments, policy management, and network monitoring. We are a strategic partner with our clients to make them more cyber resilient. We are a collaboration of Africans here on the continent and in the diaspora, contributing our knowledge, skills, and experience to the continent's successful future. Our goal is rooted in both our vision and our DNA. We draw on our more than 4 decades of experience developing, improving, and maintaining security operations for the private and public sectors. Africa's resilience begins with the mind first.
And welcome everyone to Grapho Systems webinar on governance and compliance for those who do business in Ghana. I am Mamaga Ami Fufali, co-founder, chief operations, and also your moderator for tonight's information session. It is my honor to introduce our speaker for this evening, someone whose journey has taken him from defending the networks of the U.S. military and the Department of Defense to now defending the businesses of Ghana. With over 25 years of experience and expertise in ICT and cybersecurity, he has operated in the international cyber defense exercises and network defense, research and development projects, and education and training at the highest levels of organizations. He understands that human behavior and organizational decisions determine whether a business is protected or exposed. As a strong advocate for conflict resolution and problem solving, he brings that perspective to everything he does. As the Chief Executive Officer of Crafo Systems, one of Ghana's few CSA licensed cybersecurity service providers in the country, he now brings global defense level knowledge directly to compliance and cybersecurity challenges that Ghanaian businesses face every day. He is passionate about fixing complex problems, investing in Africa's youth and technology, and making Crafo Systems a strategic partner and securing Africa's digital future. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the co-founder and CEO of Crafo Systems, Mr. Komla Elikem.
Apologies. So, technical difficulties, right? So, again, the name of this course is Governance and Compliance for business owners. And again, we believe that every business in Ghana deserves the same level of protection that governments and the military rely on. And that's exactly what we're looking to bring to the table here in Ghana. I'm fortunate to spend every day helping business owners sleep better at night, knowing that their systems, their data, and their people are protected. So we do our best to meet businesses where they're at and fill in the gaps in regards to their compliance and their security in their normal operations and in case of emergencies or incidents and things of that nature. So our goal is to guide you as a business owner towards a more cyber resilient operation while you are providing us with your products and services as you serve the citizens of Ghana. So I first want to start with a quick video discussing some of the challenges as business owners will face dealing with the 3 agencies in Ghana. One of them is the Data Protection Commission. And this is a video that was back in July of 2023 when they started enforcing the compliance laws that was instituted back in 2012. So I want you to watch this video and see what has came about in regards of how they, I would say, enforce the law with businesses that they believed were not in compliance or had complaints from customers about the data that they were handling. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this video.
Have breached data protection laws have been arrested by a joint team operation led by the Data Protection Commission and the Ghana Police Service. Daniel Oduro-Mensah provides further insight on this report.
In an effort to ensure that businesses have the necessary authorization to process clients' data for their operations, the Data Protection Commission, in collaboration with officers from the Ghana Police Service, conducted an enforcement operation leading to the arrest of 5 business owners for non-compliance.
Please, are you listening?
Don't question me, I question you, please.
You question me, and I will have to respond to the questions.
Listen, the question I asked you, what was the response?
So the response is that I will check.
The response that you gave me initially, what was it?
That I will check. If you asked me about the data
Please,
and I said that
you have your data protection certificate.
Yes.
What did
So
you say?
when you asked me about data protection
It's a
certificate,
simple question.
I said that I will check. Yes, the data protection certificate, we are supposed to have it, so I will check. That's why I called my manager, and I understand that we will have to speak with the legal team.
The suspects were apprehended at various locations, including Care Flight Ghana, the Morning Star School, Embassy Gardens, the Dakuman branch of Cap Farm Ghana Limited, and Grace Homeopathic Clinic.
So, Mr. Eswaso, let me about this.
Speaking to the media after the operation, Quintin Akroboto, the Director of Regulatory Compliance at the Commission, disclosed that businesses are also required to submit their data collection operations under the supervision of the Commission.
Registration is just one of the aspects of compliance. In fact, it is just the beginning process of what compliance. What we expect from institutions is to bring their processing under the radar of the Data Protection Commission for supervision. So for some of the institutions, they haven't registered at all. Even upon several follow-ups that we have done with them, they have failed to register with the Commission. And for those of them that have registered, they are still not compliant because registration under Section 46 is just one aspect of compliance. You need to appoint a supervisor, have them trained and certified to guide you in your compliance journey.
Sorry, so there's a couple of things I want to unpack here. In the beginning of the video, you notice that one of the representatives for the DPC was asking one of the business, I guess he was one of the workers that worked there at the business, where was his data protection certificate? Okay, now the data protection certificate is a certificate that the data protection office gives you once you've registered with them, saying that I am a data collector or a data processor or both. And here's the information that I will be handling while doing my services here in Ghana. And so that was what that was about, and why he kept asking, where is your certificate, right? Then you notice that the different types of businesses that they brought in for investigation and for interrogation was very vast, from a medical institution to a school to an appliance store. So I wanted this video to be very impactful to let everyone know that it's specific like tech companies or banks or anybody dealing with large amounts of data. These are regular businesses that we go in and out of every day that handling customers' data. These were the ones that, of course, in this video um, from the news channel, this is what they got. And there was another one that happened in August of 2023 as well. So while collaborating with the Criminal Investigation Department, which the police, they apprehended these representatives from the different businesses in Accra. Now, this gentleman speaking is, like I said before, is the formal director of Data Protection Commission. This is back in 2023. Now, let's fast forward 3 years. Now we're in 2026. We're under a different administration. And I want you guys to hear what the new Data Protection Commissioner has to say.
That's why Data Protection Week 2026 is designed as a month-long national program to move beyond awareness and strengthen accountability, compliance, and trust across the entire data lifecycle. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, whilst we are celebrating Data Protection Week, it is important to self-notice that 2026 will be a year of enforcement. Let me repeat. It is important to self-notice that 2026 will be a year of enforcement. The Data Protection Act is clear. Clause 27 provides that a data controller who intends to process personal data must register with the Data Protection Commission. We see it again in Clause 46, 3, and 56, which further emphasize that compliance requirements for lawful data processing.
Now, what I want everybody to understand, some key words that he said. It is important to take notice that 2026 will be the year of enforcement, just like they did back in 2023. We're stating it again. Also, I wanted to include that on March 2nd, 2026, at the National Data Protection Conference in Accra, that the Communications Minister, Mr. Sam George, disclosed that a policy directive would soon be issued to the Data Protection Commission to impose fines on organizations that had not registered or complied with the act. Okay, this is very important. You've seen the diversity in the businesses that they brought in for interrogation or investigation, depending on the status. One of the biggest things that I wanted everyone to understand was the key part here was the data certificate. Did you register with the Data Protection Commission? And from that point on, the fines come, right? If you hit that, if you haven't done so, right? And so in my operating here in Ghana, my homeland with my wife with Croppo Systems, we've actually talked to business owners who've received letters from the Data Protection Commission and did not know what to do with the letters and didn't reply back. And that is a huge no-no, because now that lets them know that they understand that you're doing business in Ghana and they're just waiting to run the clock out before they come for you because they've already sent notice. If you notice in the first commissioner, he said the same thing. The first director. We've sent many notices and no responses. This is a serious matter if you've already received a notice from them and have yet to get back to them. Or find the proper, I would say, personnel to talk to help you communicate what's going on and why you may not have been able to comply with them. This can be done with a lawyer, through a legal team. This can be done with Croppo Systems, because this is part of our background in regards of compliance. And we can help you navigate through that process to help you get into compliance, okay? But for those of you, this is your first time hearing this, and or even if it isn't, and you've noticed that you've gotten that notice from them, what would your response be if they showed up? And I'm pretty sure that would be the response that you would get if you knew now, if you knew then what you know now, right? So we need to get on the ball with this and get everybody in compliance, first of all, to see if your operations require the registering with the DPC. Now, they're the ones that determine that, not you, not me. They determine whether or not you are considered a data collector or a data processor. But what we recommend is that if you are doing business in Ghana and you are registered at the business registry, you need to register with the DPC. If you do not know how to do that, Crawford Systems is here to guide you through that process. And let me tell you a little bit more about the DPC. Okay. So the Data Protection Commission, DPC, right, is an independent statutory body established in 2012, right? And they're governed by Act 843. Okay. So they have purposes that they must follow. One is they're going to make sure that personal privacy data is protected, right? We as business owners, that's all we're collecting, personal private information, either phone numbers, names, email addresses. I mean, we can always go at date of birth, but address, where they're located at, where all these things are considered personal identifiable information. And if you are collecting these things, then you will be considered a data collector under the law. Now, you may say, well, I don't collect the data, it's sitting on my phone. The data is collected there. You are a data collector. Or you may say, well, it's not on my phone, it's on my WhatsApp. You're still collecting the data, even if you're using a third-party application. Then that also requires some cybersecurity processes that need to take place, because if you are collecting this data on digital devices, there are certain security measures that you must have in place. Again, this is where Crawford System comes in and guides you through that minefield of compliance and cybersecurity incidents that may kick off that you have to deal with the next agency that we'll talk about. But right now, let's focus on the DPC. So, as you have heard, the DPC Executive Director, Dr. Arnold Kavapour, right? This act was put in 2012. Many people who've been here for 20, 30 years have never heard of the DPC. I don't know how that process in regards of them getting the information out to business owners, or business owners just didn't care. Either way, the law said this was enacted in 2012. Okay. So whenever you register your business, start counting them days in regards of penalties you could be that are adding up every year. All right. So I'm going to break these down to you because he mentioned about 4 sections of the law. Okay. So the first one he mentioned was Section 3, which was the function of the commission, which is their purpose. Then he talked about Section 27, which is you as a data collector or data processor, or both, registering with the DPC. Then he talked about Section 46. This is what they have to do to establish themselves, okay? And then there's Section 56, which is what happens if you fail to comply. All right, so these are functions of the commission, okay? So with that comes this is Section 3. And there's 4 duties that they must carry out. You need to make sure the businesses are handling data properly under the law, handle compliance complaints from customers of the business owners, track data collectors and processors, and have an internal system to track everything. And this would be on their website if you were to go there. Okay. Sorry, so little background. And so, I'm sorry. I know, right? Okay. I'll look into that later. Technical stuff, right? So, registering with the Data Commission. We have Section 27. This one talks about what is required of you for those that are designated as data controllers, right? So when you talk about you registering, like I mentioned before, you need to also inform those who you're collecting data on before you provide any services to them or any products to them, right? They need to know that. Now, this can be done, real quick, if you have a website, this can be done through a privacy statement. Okay. If you have customers that come into your establishment, then you need to have a sign that says we collect this information from you. Those are good ways to help protect you, and also put you in compliance with the Data Protection Commission. Because if they walk in and notice that you don't have any way of telling the customers that you are collecting their data, we can have a problem. Now you may say, I just sell things in a store. I don't collect their data, but they make transfers. Well, that's data that you're collecting, even if it's done through a what? Third party, MTN, those little devices that you have. If that information is being collected, now you have two agencies you must focus on: NITA, which deal with the governing of digital transactions, and the DPC. If this data is collected, say in your inventory, when you go back and look at who bought what, that's information that you have protected. That you have collected. Now, we also going to be talking about the establishment of the data protection register. So again, the act is the official list that they use that you're going to be registered under. And the commission must also create and keep updates of everybody that's registered. Whenever you go to their website, if you're looking for a business to see if you are registered or if a business is registered, it would fall under one of three categories. Either it's pending, they're registered, or it's expired. If you do not see your business in there or the business you're trying to do business with to see if they're in compliance, then you won't see anything at all, okay? But if they had contacted the business register and also put in the paperwork through their website, because you can do this all online, you would see at least a pending status next to them. Now, pending does not mean that they're not approved. Pending just means that they are registered. Maybe there's a payment they're waiting on. Maybe there's more information they need to gather on the business itself to make sure that they are if they would be recognized as a data collector or a data processor. So we want to make sure that if we're going to operate in this ecosystem, this digital ecosystem, that we're doing it in accordance to the law. All right? Because if we don't, here's the possible outcome. If you convicted, you can face fines up to 250 penalty units or jailed for 2 years or both, depending on the severity of, I guess, the crime, right? Or what you're convicted of. So if you process personal data, but you haven't registered as a data controller, technically, right now, you are committing a crime. Okay? So I want to take a break here from this part, and I want to go into some frequently asked questions. We've been doing this webinar for a while. And one of those questions that I was asked was, what is the number or limit I must reach before I have to register with the Data Protection Commission? Good question. Any person who intends to collect or process personal data must register with the DPC. That means if you got one customer, you need to register with the DPC. Okay? That's about as plain English I can give it to you. All right. So the moment your business collects that data, stores it, uses it, processes it for any reason at all, you fall under the Data Protection Commission, right? And they will also probably say the same thing once you fill out their information and go from there. But remember, the purpose of the Data Protection Commission is to ensure that customers who are buying products or using services, that their information is protected. Okay. Now, another question that was asked, this was for those who were doing business in Ghana, but were not in Ghana. Okay. So in this situation, we're talking about what we consider foreign companies, right? Who collect data or process Ghanaian citizens' personal data, government data, or the data in the private sector with other businesses, right? So we're either talking about B2G, B2C, or B2B. These businesses have to register with the DPC as well. But what are the conditions, right? They must meet this. You must ensure that if you use infrastructure or equipment in Ghana to process that data, you need to register. If you hire a Ghanaian company or an individual to process the data, on their behalf, on your behalf as a foreign business, you need to register. If the data was collected from Ghanaian citizens, government entities, or the private sector, you must do the same thing. Now, there is one exemption. If the information that you are collecting passes through Ghana, but is not from any Ghanaian citizens, you don't have to register. So for example, if you have a server or some type of infrastructure in Ghana itself, but it's collecting data from a different country, then you don't have to register with the Data Protection Commission because you're not collecting data on Ghanaian citizens, okay? So let's go back to that equipment and infrastructure part. So let's say you have a server room sitting in Ghana just for latency issues, and you're collecting data from the eastern region of Togo, Benin, Niger, that information, but it has to pass through Ghana to get to wherever your main server is located at. You don't have to register with them, all right? So I'm going to take this time out to set the room up for questions.
Okay. Thank you very much for that information. I have another question that we would like to help for clarity or to share that information for clarity. So the big thing is if we're supposedly not, if we're not supposed to share certain data, what data should I protect as a business owner? And I'm talking about as far as your customers and what is what we have to collect. And the answer is any information that can identify a person, like names, phone numbers, email addresses, and then when it comes to staff and volunteers and all, IDs, customer records, CVs, that sort of thing. Those are absolutely the pieces of information that we need to protect as business owners. And so another question we want to bring up today is what happens if you do not comply? Okay. Well, it could be a few things. But one thing is if you're caught, you may face fines, complaints from customers, because you don't know really how to go about it, protecting this information, or other enforcement actions. So it's best to register, get the training, and keep data secure. Okay, so that is the clarification provided for the first portion of our webinar. If there are any questions, please, we're monitoring the chat. If anyone would like to join, they are welcome. And yeah, let's go.
Let's go, huh? Okay. So now I did mention another agency when talking about the DPC. This agency is known as the Cybersecurity Authority. Okay, so this agency is responsible for safeguarding cyberspace, coordinating national cybersecurity efforts, and regulating critical information infrastructures and promoting cybersecurity awareness. This agency, Crapo Systems, falls under. Okay, if you notice, if you're here at the beginning of our webinar, you notice that we had our license displayed in the beginning of the presentation. because we must let everyone know and identify that we are licensed to operate here in Ghana as a cybersecurity service provider. Okay, so now when we are dealing with the cybersecurity authority, a lot of businesses may ask the question, well, what does that have to do with my business and how I'm operating? Many of us use digital devices to do business, right? And in the process of doing that, as you see in the first part, it was to make sure that we are coordinating the national cybersecurity efforts and ensuring that we are operating in compliance and protecting personal, private, even your business data using these electronic devices. Okay, so the CSA purpose and duty, there's 4 core duties that they operate under. Okay, it's the CSA makes sure businesses and institutions handle cybersecurity the way the law requires. The CSA has internal systems to make sure that they can provide the services and report and track incidents that are happening here in Ghana, and also keep abreast of what's going on around the country, around the continent, and around the world to ensure to put out the cyber awareness that may be needed. If you follow them on their LinkedIn account, you'll see some of the notices that they put out in regards to the latest mobile money hacks or social engineering hacks that are currently attacking Ghanaian citizens. And so where do you fall as a business owner? Well, again, you are collecting data, and that data is sitting on some type of digital device. There are certain parameters per the law that require you to meet in order to hold that data. From the time you collect it to the time you created it, there are metrics that you must ensure and make sure are being taken in place. I'm sorry, that you must ensure are taking place in order to be in compliance. Now, I know many of you may have the IT guy, and that's great, but they're not a cybersecurity expert or a cybersecurity professional. So there's a learning gap in regards to what compliance is and what they need to do to meet those compliances and stay in compliance. So we always recommend to have also a cybersecurity professional in your business, either internally or externally as a third party, as Crawford Systems does provide that service as well in regards to consulting, policy management, risk and vulnerability assessments, and things of that nature. So when we also go to businesses who have an IT department, the first person we're going to talk to is who's the head of IT. And we will ask pertinent questions pertaining to how do they manage the data, how are they procuring, how are they transferring the data, how they're destroying it, how they're storing it. And luckily, we have had very great responses from IT teams when we come on board and then discuss how they are navigating the digital ecosystem and the business operations. We haven't had too many kickbacks or people who wanted to fight us or anything saying they were coming to mess up their operations or anything like that. Our purpose is to ensure that the business can function legally within the country, okay? We're not here to point fingers at people saying so-and-so is messing up. We're clearly here to say, here's what the law states. Here are some of the best practices. We're going to use our 25 years of experience, or my 25 years and my wife's 25 years. So it's over 50 years of experience we have in doing this at the highest levels of network and cybersecurity defense and even being in compliance. So we want to bring that here, okay? Now, just so you know, the Cybersecurity Authority is governed by one law, Act 1038, okay? That law was created back in 2020. So this is a six-year-old law as of today, okay? Section 47 requires us to license to operate with them through this process. So I wanted to make sure we include this in that webinar so you understand that when you're talking to a cybersecurity professional, that they are following the guidance and that they have the proper paperwork documented that they can provide these services to you, okay? So take immediate action and steps to coordinate and recover from an incident. This is something that is in the law, that if you have if you've been hacked or if there's been a data incident, you need to report it, okay? Coordinate full with their CERT GH during the investigation. Now, I know you may have not understand what this acronym means. It just means Computer Emergency Response Team, okay? Ghana, that's what the GH stands for. So when you're operating in this process, you need to make sure that if you have an incident, that you're reporting it to the right people and you're doing it in the appropriate time. As you see at the bottom, they want you to report all incidents within 24 hours. Operating with Crawford Systems, this is the area that will pick this ball up for you. We'll handle this process in regards of coordinating back and forth with the CSA and how we should deal with the incident in regards of reporting it. Reporting the incident does not mean that you are at fault. Okay, it was an incident. It does not mean you'll go to jail. It does not mean you'll be fined. It's just that we need to report that we had an incident. Reason being, we have in our industry, sharing information is critical because what happened to one company hack can be prevented from another company getting hacked. Okay, we don't disclose personal identifiable information of the company when it comes to sharing this information, except with the CSA because they need to know who it was that was hacked. But we don't share this information with anyone else. So when it comes to, again, what does this mean for your business? Before hiring any cybersecurity provider, you are legally required to verify their license, okay? Whether they're coming to consult, whether they're coming to do a risk assessment, pen testing, any of those things, you need to make sure that they're licensed, all right? The CSA maintains an official register of all licensed cybersecurity service providers in Ghana. So you can always verify this information. If they give you a license number, you can call the CSA yourself. I think they have a section in the website where you can look the person up to see if they are licensed or not. And then registering with them is another thing. So that register must be kept current and of course publicly accessible. And this is why we made sure we are showing ours. So one of the frequently asked questions that we receive is, okay, so me as a business owner, you told me to go register with the DPC. I did that. Now do I have to register with the CSA as well? Technically, no. Okay. Unless you are considered critical information infrastructure. All right. So what does that mean? It refers to an asset, real or virtual, that if exposed or compromised, it would have a devastating impact on the national security, okay, or the economy or the public health or safety. Well, what's an example of that? We can talk about a hospital, a bank, or a communications business like MTN or Vodafone. Because of the amount of data that they collect and the sensitivity of that data that they're collecting, this can call it a nationwide problem. And so they will be considered critical information infrastructure. Now, that's a whole different ballgame if your business falls under that label, under that category, I should say. And the CSA does no, I am not. They will determine that if you are one. And I just gave you a few examples of what would put you under that category. Okay. And so that's just a quick synopsis of what the CSA is about and what their purpose is, how they relate to you doing business, and our relation to the CSA. Okay. Now, in regards of any questions, I now turn it over to Mr. Fale for that part.
Okay, so it looks like Mr. Elikim, you pretty much asked the questions I was going to ask, but I want to highlight them. The first question I have is, who should register with the CSA? Okay. Who should register with the CSA? Now, the CSA is the Cybersecurity Authority and they have a whole process to vet the cybersecurity providers and establishments and practitioners. That people are put through that particular process to approve those who are providing that service. Okay. So that's important to know, that who is supposed to register with the CSA. It is any cybersecurity company, critical information infrastructure company, and companies that are doing cybersecurity functions. Those are the ones that should be registered with the CSA. Okay. Also, how do you contact the CSA? That's a great question, right? There are several reasons why you would want to contact the CSA, which is the Cybersecurity Authority of Ghana. One of the ways you contact them is through mobile app, and they have a mobile app called the CSA Ghana. Also, you can contact them on WhatsApp. And then another way would be to email them. And I just had the email up, sorry. And it's report@csa.gov.gh, or you can send them an SMS, which is at 292. And that is how you contact. And also you can call 292 in order to contact and CSA for reporting incidents. Okay, so they have a website. And when you go on their website, you can see all this information. And we're sharing it tonight in order for you to be more resilient as a business owner or someone who is doing business. When something happens, you might not have time, but it's good for you to at least have these numbers and know that cybercrime, cybersecurity incident reporting, those points of contact. Okay. So pretty much that's the most important parts of the CSA, knowing who they are, located in Accra. And so there we go. And back over to you, Mr. Elikim. Thank you very much for that briefing. We're going to go into the last section of our live this evening. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Felling. And so the next session we're going to talk about is actually just wrapping it up and giving you the understanding that we did go over a lot of information. Okay, and in that process, we probably scared a few of you. And so we want to make sure that you understand that we do have solutions. And we want you to know that you're not doing this alone. Okay, so the other agency that I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar was NITA. Okay, National Internet Technology Agency. Okay, now their role, as you see here, is to manage government IT infrastructure and digital services. This includes electronic transactions. Their focus is the e-government initiatives, cybersecurity, IT policy implementation. Their key function is coordinates digital transformation across government agencies. Then we have the DPC. The role of the DPC, data privacy protection, is to, again, work with the laws. Focus, personal and data protection privacy rights, data handling compliances, and then you see their key functions. In the CSA, same thing applies. Here's are the roles, what they focus on, and the key functions in which they operate. Now, with all this information that we've given you, we have a solution. And that solution is our organization flagship course called the CyberBoss Masterclass, Governance and Compliance for Business Owners. Okay, we're putting this together. We're only accepting a limited amount of seats of 10 businesses. You're welcome to come as partners. If you're CEO and COO, then there's a discount for coming as one business with 2 entities. But we're only going to fill the seats for 10 businesses. Okay, this is a 6-hour training. We're going to walk you through this process after we find out where you're at in regards to compliance and cybersecurity. Then we're going to give you the layout, like we did in this webinar, what these agencies are doing, and then we're going to provide you with a binder with the proper information, along with a compliance checklist and a governance guidebook that's going to help protect you against these laws and what to do if they come for you in regards to a customer saying that you may have handled the data wrong, or if they're just coming to do an audit on your company. Okay, we have all that ready for you in the class. The goal here from Crawford Systems, if you haven't understood, if you haven't figured out, we're trying to establish a good relationship with the business owners here in Ghana. And our purpose is to make sure that you are in compliance and that you're operating safely for your business. No CEO wants to get the notification that they owe somebody money, or they're operating illegally, or they have a fine because something that they could have fixed months ago or years ago, but no one never told them. Okay. Now, there's a process on how this works. So I'm going to play you one of our video so you can see a quick walkthrough as to what this entails in regards of our CyberBoss Masterclass. Okay.
Nearly 43% of cyber attacks target small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs. And when breaches happen, they don't just hurt a business, they put customers' personal data, privacy, and trust at risk. That's why regulators are taking business data handling so seriously. They're not just reacting to attacks, they're protecting people and ensuring companies are good stewards of the data they hold. When businesses fail to protect that data, regulators impose fines, enforce shutdowns, and in some cases, imprisonment. If you run a business in Ghana, you don't need to wait for regulators to come knocking. We've made it simple to protect your business. You'll move through 3 steps. 1, a free pre-assessment. 2, a full assessment. And 3, the path to resilience, training, policies, and reassessment. Let's start by first creating your account. On our website, click Assessment Toolkit in the top right corner. Click the button, Take a Free Assessment, then Create Free Account. You'll see a short form asking for your name, company name, email address, and a secure password. Under the form, you'll see our terms of use and privacy policy. Please review. Tick the boxes to confirm that you agree to these, then click Create Account. Next, go to your email inbox. You'll receive a confirmation email from us. Open it and click the Verify email address or verification link. After confirming, you'll receive a one-time password or OTP. Now return to the login page, enter your email and password, and hit Sign In. On the next screen, enter the OTP on the login screen to complete your first sign-in. Once you're in, click the button to begin your free pre-assessment. Inside your dashboard, everything we do is guided by an industry-standard framework made up of core functions that describe how a serious business manages risk, incidents, and ongoing compliance. Step 1 is your free pre-assessment. You'll complete a short questionnaire about your business size, the data you handle, and how you stay compliant. It takes about 10-15 minutes. Then you'll be invited to schedule a 30-minute consultation. In that call, we'll review your results, explain your risk in plain language, and show you exactly what a full assessment will look like for your business. Every business needs a full assessment at some point. You can't protect what you don't know. In step 2, we do a full tailored assessment of your business. We look at how you collect, store, and use customer and staff information, and where you might be exposed to fines or enforcement. You'll receive a clear report saying where you are compliant, where you are exposed, and then review your critical issues to fix in the next 30-60 days, building a realistic do-this-first plan for you. During our debrief session, we will walk you through the critical findings in plain language, but you will also receive the full written report for your records so you can share it with your team. The better we understand your business, the clearer your path to resilience becomes. Step 3 is the path to resilience, a 6 or 12-month plan of action. It includes training for your team, online or self-paced, policy support, clear guidelines for staff, and a planned reassessment to check progress and keep you compliant over time. This is where you turn your one-time assessment into a culture of awareness and an intentional foundational shift that will lead to positive impact and resilience across your organization. This ongoing work ensures that if regulators visit, you can show continuous improvement that demonstrates your SME is making its best efforts to protect the lifeblood of your company, your data. By selecting a 6 or 12-month option, you maintain compliance over time. But it all starts with creating your account, completing the free pre-assessment, and moving into the full assessment. Your next step is simple. Create your account, confirm your email, and log in with your OTP. Click Take Your First Assessment to start your free pre-assessment. Be sure to schedule your 30-minute consultation when you are done. From there, we'll walk you through the full assessment and onto your path to resilience. By taking this 3-step journey, your SME will move from being part of the 14% that are unprepared into the 86% that actively plan and assess their security. That's the better percentage. Businesses that stay resilient because they took this step. Click below to get started. You're taking a smart, reassuring step to protect your business.
So again, I hope that video was enough detail to explain to you the amount of effort that we're going to take to support your organization and your operations here in Ghana, whether you're local or a foreign business. So, like I said before, one day, okay, 10 seats, everything your business needs to face a regulator will be at that meeting. Okay, so that's what we want everybody to understand. Our focus and goal is to ensure that you are in compliance and that you are meeting the regulatory mandates to do business here in Ghana. We do not want businesses to get fined for stuff that could be resolved and fixed. All right, so I think that will be ending here for tonight. We'll see you guys again Thursday. But before I leave, I want you guys to know one thing in regards of this class. Again, this is just a small step forward towards being in compliance. So one regulatory fine under the Act 843 or Act 1038 costs more than this class. I just want you to know that. The data breach costs more than this class. One lost client who checked with your DPC seal and found nothing, again, costs more than this class. The class is only 3,000 seating. Okay, 10 seats. Once we get enough seats filled, we'll be providing you with the location here in Accra, and it'll be a facility that will be able to maintain everything that you need to get this process started. It doesn't matter where you're at, whether you are registered with the DPC and don't know if you're in compliance. If you're not in with the DPC, if you're looking to start a business before getting compliance, it's a 30-minute free consultation. We can sit down with you and go over the process. So please take this time out to reach out to us so that we can get your compliance journey started. And any other questions you may have with us, feel free to give us a call or email us at info@crawfordsystems.com. You can find us on WhatsApp. Our number is country code 233-5939-6002. Okay, so if you want to reach out to us to get more information or register, you can again go through our website at crawfordsystems.com and you can sign up and set up for a consultation. Okay, thank you all for joining this webinar. You all have a good night.
Let's connect and protect. Crawford Systems out.